How you doing? I asked that question actually wanting to know the answer. Um, I'm making this video today because I got so many emails, and thanks to you all who email me video ideas. My email is down below if you want to email me your topic or your thought process. And so many of you wrote me and told me that you're just feeling really stressed and burnt out. Um, Outside of this election, but a big part of it being the election, everyday life, work life balance, relationships, setting your boundaries, all of those things have become quite difficult for you. And I'm going to admit it's been difficult for me too. Let me say this, I've been sick for the past 3 weeks on and off. And I'm finally getting well after going back to the doctor and making sure everything's good and taking good care of myself. Um, but I also feel like a lot of this has been stress. A lot of it has been stress. So even for me, I'm realizing how stress again affects the body. I feel like God has to give me a lesson in almost every quarter of my life. Um, and this has been one of them. So today I wanted to talk about how to lessen that issue or feeling so burnout, feeling so anxious, hopeless, depressed, anxious, all of it. And really get to the crux of how we can feel better, and not just feel better temporarily, but in times like this, know how to create um an even playing field for ourselves, know how to create a sense of stability, even in instability. And it's important, y'all. It's so important to our everyday lives. It's important to who we are. And while right now most people may feel hopeless, they may not feel like change and things are happening the way that we would like to. They may feel, like you've given up. And even if you're not all about the election, because I feel like my stressors are outside of the election, I was ready for this to be over with. But I'll say this, even if it's not that, there's things that come with this that compound our stress levels. And even if you've not been into this whole thing, you can't escape it. You can't escape it. So today I'm going to talk about ways to feel better as I'm starting to come out of my sickness, chronic sinus infection, okay? But I also want to hear from you, and I want to hear some of the things that you're doing to help yourself maintain stability. What do you like about your life right now? Even if it's just that you have a hobby that you have not been able to engage in, but you plan to. Let us know down below. And also, if you have any tips, I know I have really wise viewers, and I would love to hear from you. So add those in as well. Let's get into some of the ways that I find stability from stress across my life that I think can help you. And this is coming from me, a clinical professional. Let's get into it. So before we get into my 4 key ways, there are 3 critical things I need for you to do. Okay. Identify your stressors, because a lot of times we do not know what the stress is coming from and why we even have it. Sometimes the stress that you have is not what you think it is. And that's why you have to take some time to really look into what's happening with your life. Where are the areas that you want to improve on, and what things are really pulling you down? Is you sitting up and watching all this election coverage actually good for you? Is it helping your heart, your liver, your brain? I don't know. Those are the types of things you need to ask yourself in order to help maintain that emotional control. And I'm not saying that you always have to not feel, because that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying you need to find out where your stress is actually coming from, because sometimes something as big as an election only brings out the other stressors that you truly have that you have not confronted yet. And the way that I do this is I look at the things that are really pulling from my time, that I spend my most time on, and I determine whether or not those things are helping or hurting me. That's how I determine what's burning me out. I can spend all day speaking on this camera because I love it. I love speaking to you all. But at times where there's a lot of contention or drama, it drains me. So it's important to do kind of a quarterly assessment of where those stressors are coming from. Number 2, I need you to do a self-assessment or a self-reflection. Regularly check in with yourself to determine your emotional state. This is going to help you to determine, am I irritable all the time? And I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Your girl can get irritable. Do you hear me? Yes, I can get irritable. And what can be the biggest, craziest thing to me is, you ever heard the straw that broke the camel's back? For me, it's the pen that rolls on the floor. What I mean by that is I can have a bunch of stressors that I'm not acknowledging because I haven't self-reflected or looked at my emotional state. And then the pen falls and rolls on the floor and I'm ready to go off on everybody. It happens from time to time. I'm human. And I can admit that even as a licensed clinical professional, that's usually when I know it's important or that I've skipped over self-reflection and self-assessment. I need to know exactly where I am. Because if I'm getting highly irritable, I need to take some time off. I need to step back. I need to relax. I need to take a day to brain dump. I need to also maybe put those emails to the side. Think about something else. Turn that TV off. Stop watching election coverage and other stuff. Stop listening to a lot of drama or other things that are not sitting well with my soul. Stability is usually what we seek, no matter how spontaneous you believe you are. And then there's positive self-talk and affirmations to combat negative thoughts. That's your third thing. I think a lot of times positive affirmations have gotten such a bad rep. A lot of times we like to feel like, oh my God, here we come with the positivity, saying all the stuff. And I can get it. I dig it. Sometimes I feel like some people are so focused on positivity that they're less focused on reality. And reality is life has its ups and downs. Life does some stuff that we don't like. Life has some things and some decisions that other people make that affect all of us. I'm talking digging deep into things that you're not even considering. I'm just saying, like, thank God that I can breathe. I'm so blessed to have a job. I might not like it, but it's paying the bills. I got a car. Thank you for that. And right now, it ain't got the check engine light on. Look, I'm talking about the very bare minimums, the things that we don't think about that help to make that self-assessment and reflection, as well as thinking about ourselves more and in a kinder way, more possible. These are things that are all going to add to figuring out those stressors and attacking them where they are. And also allowing yourself to figure out before you get burnt out how to back away from the fire and help yourself feel cooler. So now of those four things, the first one is setting boundaries and prioritizing your time. So the first one is work-life balance because most of us can, at a certain age, relate to work-life balance. Clearly define your work time and work hours and set times that you will cut off answering phone calls, emails, other stuff, especially in times like these. You do not get a gold star for going above and beyond. Said from a person named Miss Perseverance, okay? In my sorority, I'm Miss Perseverance. And baby, I gets the job done above and beyond. That's who I am. However, when I've expected that same thing from other people, I've been able to learn that you don't have to go above and beyond for anything. Now, I tend to do it for myself. In the past, I've had troubles with trying to do it for other people. That's not where we are right now. I need for you to define what work is, what it's providing for you, and where it gets cut off. Because you don't get no gold stars for going above and beyond, especially in times like these when I need your mental capacity to be as positive and as great as it possibly can be. So that work-life balance really comes into play. And you might say, well, Nina, if I'm feeling hopeless right now, how does that help? It helps because it gives your brain the chance to dump. You need the time to come back down to earth and come back within yourself. Even if a catastrophic moment has happened, being able to sit here and realize I'm still eating, living, breathing, and I'm okay. Okay. Physically, nothing has really changed. Emotionally, I might be a little hurt, but I'll get through. I'm designed to make it through. Okay. And without adding on more burdens to your back, you ain't a donkey. Okay. You don't have to carry all the burdens. This is a time for you to back away from certain things from work that bring you nothing. Invest that time in yourself and other things that can help to bring you happiness. The next thing on that is saying no. Don't be afraid to decline extra tasks, especially when you're already feeling overloaded. I also had to make it a point to say no even when I'm not feeling overloaded, just so I can prevent feeling overloaded. If you know right now emotionally you're not in the best space, then don't compound it by trying to do a bunch of stuff outside of what you normally would in order to forget the pain. In the past, I think in previous times and previous generations, lots of people just work to get over their problems. But what you find is once you slow down, all those problems come right on back to the forefront, baby. You have done nothing with them. So saying no right now is the best. And I will say that this is felt especially for women of color and Black women. We a lot of times feel like our work proves our worth. Let me free you up, honey. No. Say no. I have one of the most wonderful mentors, and I need to call her. She always told me, being a workhorse don't make you much better than anybody else. So I want you to say no. I want you to practice it. And don't feel guilty. You will feel guilty at first, but I want you to practice it because at times like this, when we start to feel responsible for correcting the world, correcting the wrongs for other people, no, ma'am, no, sir, this is not the time. You need to be taking care of yourself. So if you want to say no because you want to sit down on the couch and sip a mocha, then do so, okay? If you want a frappuccino instead of sitting up and having a long talk with somebody about stuff that ain't gonna change nothing right now, don't do it, okay? Let me free you and give you the game. Say no. Schedule breaks is the third thing in there. Sometimes I have to step away and take short breaks just to recharge. And you know what I do? I use these as ways to get away from uncomfortable situations too. In times like these, everybody wants to talk, talk, talk. But are we sure who we talking to? You don't have to be in those situations. You don't have to have conversations you don't want to have. You don't have to agree with people you don't agree with. And I don't care what side you're on. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care. You just don't have to. And so in order to free myself, I set small breaks that are necessary for me. Right now, in being sick, my husband has had to take on most things with the house. And that is something that we've learned to work together, that in these harder times, that one can really cover and take care of the other. And those things have to be scheduled. And a small break can be something as small as walking away and going to the bathroom when people talk about things you don't want to talk about. Those small things can add up to stressors that cause you more problems, like health problems, mental problems, difficulties in your body that you cannot explain. So I want you to free yourself in that way as well. Number 2 of those 4 things, social connection. Reach out to whatever support system you have. That can be family, friends, a neighbor, whoever. These things can help you to have a sounding board for your emotions, for your feelings, and also check in with people that are not going to judge you. I cannot share everything with everyone. And I don't, because sometimes sharing everything with everybody will stress you out. But there are a select few that no matter who they are, what they believe in, who they voted for, what they talking about, where they work, I can talk to them about anything without major judgment. Notice I said major judgment because we all literally have a small judgmental person in our head that pops out whenever we think it's not there. But what I mean is talk to the people who matter in times like these. Not people that are going to rile you back up, not people that are going to have you stressed out more. You know who to go to and you know who not to go to. Some of us, I think, like the drama going to some people that we know don't give good advice, don't listen worth a dang on, and just really there for the tea. I want you to go to the people that really care, okay? Or the people who will just listen. And this can be a chance for you to connect with others if you don't have those connections. Y'all, I have literally recently gone on this thing where I have joined certain online groups and things like that. And it's been refreshing. Just groups that have nothing to do, maybe with my work life, or with my family life, but just things that I have common interest in. And I can tell you by doing that, I've met some of the most lifelong friends. Those types of connections are sometimes the ones that you need in times like this that take your mind away from the normal everyday hum and rum. But sometimes it takes making friends in non-conventional ways that helps to make things better. It's just really nice because you connect with certain people in there and they can talk with you about various things outside of all the stressful stuff. It's an escape. And if burnout and stress is significantly impacting your life, definitely be talking to a therapist. Y'all know I'm going to tell you that all day long. You can't just sit and handle the world. It's not up to you. So sometimes you need that outside voice. So anyone who asks me, why do you need to go to a therapist? I'm going to tell you this. What it does is it gives you an outside voice, someone that's not invested in your situation, whether you win or lose, whether you vote or don't, whether you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. They're not invested in the outcome. They don't get any more payment based on your outcome. They don't get anything different. So it keeps people out your business and keeps someone who's objective on the scene. So that's why therapy is so important. So when you're in times like these, you can find someone to snap you out, someone who knows your emotional status, the ways that you think, some of your diagnoses that you haven't shared with anyone, and how that affects the way that you think and feel. That's when that comes into play. The next thing is prioritizing that physical health, because our physical health is huge, y'all. Sleep hygiene, especially in times like these, is so important. Before I got sick, my defenses were low because, let's be real, I wasn't sleeping like I should. And not because I didn't have the freedom to lay down. It's like I would lay down and I would just lay there, or I would be playing on my phone or listening to a song or listening to a TV show. I need to sleep 7 to 9 hours if possible. Most people, that's not always realistic. Get as much as you can, but sleep hygiene does factor into your well-being. And especially in times like these, when our defenses can get low, when we feel low, because when you feel low, a lot of times your body overall and your body systems feel low. This is a time to get that sleep hygiene on track and figure out what's going to make you better. Whether you need to invest, I had to invest in a new pillow. My husband and I invested in new pillows. Whether you got to get some new sheets, whatever it is, just a few things that can be changed and tweaked that are not very expensive, that can help to put you in a better mood throughout your days. And that also leads to a healthier diet. Eating balanced meals with enough protein, with enough fruits and grains, and making sure that you're taking good care of yourself there. Sometimes our food is affecting our brain and the way that we think and the way that we take bad news and the way that we compartmentalize our stress. I don't know about you, but if I've had a long night of not eating good, even though I treat myself sometimes, I find that the next day I feel horrible. I feel disgusting. And that's by design, because food feeds every facet of our body. So if you're not eating well, if you're not taking good care of yourself, then you're going to find yourself not feeling very great at all when it's time to perform, when it's time that your defenses are low. Right now, we going into the holidays, one of the most stressful times of the year. And people like to act like it's the most wonderful time, most happy time. This is the most time that people start to have feelings and emotions that drum up, feelings of loneliness, feelings of not being heard, not being seen. And even though you might be surrounded by family, there might be family issues that you're compartmentalizing. There might be people within the family that have done wrong in the past that they're now appearing as if they've done nothing. All of those things can come out even with the foods that you eat. So taking good care of yourself in terms of drinking more water, making sure you're maintaining a healthier diet, like I said, is going to be key to making sure that you feel better during all this. And then there's regular exercise, of course. Engaging in physical activities most days of the week, even if it's just a brisk walk, can totally help your mental state. This is going to help you to reduce stress. It's going to help you feel like you're achieving something, accounting for something. And it can also just help you get more direction. Sometimes just through exercise, what I find is it's a time where I do not allow other people to encroach on. I don't allow other people, even my little baby, to interrupt my workouts. Those are times that Sean and I have set aside for ourselves to be able to take better care of ourselves. And also to be our best. This is a time that I don't allow a lot of interruptions. I don't take calls. I don't take texts unless it's absolutely an emergency. It helps you see things more clearly. And even through brisk walks, you can just solve a lot of issues for yourself and hear yourself think. So that's something else to consider. So, fourth and last is stress management techniques, which I've already been sprinkling in between. But one thing is mindfulness meditation. And you don't have to be a meditation god to get this right. At this time, you want to practice focusing on your current, on what's right in front of you right now. And that can help you to reduce stress. Thinking about where you are right now instead of considering even the future. Because I think that's a big part of the issue right now, is considering the future that we don't know. We just don't know, okay? And when you try to consider the future and you've already catastrophized it, what happens is you take on the stress as if it is happening. So mindfulness meditation, what it does is it puts you in the now. It helps you to realize where you are right now. And like I said, that's a time for me to kind of empty my brain, but to also be grateful for the things I have right now. Right now, I have the activity of my limbs. Right now, as I talk to you, I have 70% of a voice or 75, but it's coming in, and that's great. Also, I can say that I feel blessed that I have made it through so much more than this. I've made it through so much in life, and I'm blessed to have the things that I have. I'm blessed to be able to think for another day. And even those basic things in mindfulness, considering your right now instead of your future or your past, frees you from taking on the stress from the future or the past. Because I feel like a lot of the stress we're taking on right now is because we don't know. And I want to tell you something, no matter who would win or whatever, we still don't know. When you realize and let go of the control that you think you have, that's when life happens. That's when stress starts to relieve. And honestly, for me, when I start to remind myself of how not in control I am in, I stop trying to control everything. And it takes away a lot of that stress. So that mindfulness meditation plays a part. And deep breathing exercises, just breathing so that you can gain a better control of your mind and your body. Sometimes breathing just frees our system. It allows us to feel like we have something to calm us. One thing you can't do is take a deep breath and still be fussing. Try it. You really can't do it, okay? So I've learned that taking those deep breaths and taking that time for myself really frees my stress levels and allows that blood pressure to come down, okay? Allows those vessels to stop popping and busting because you doing so much. And it also brings you back to where you are, again, where you are, and what plans you do have and what you can try to do within your control. So, y'all, I hope today's video has been beneficial. I know that times are quite difficult. The unknowns are there. I'm not going to sit here and play y'all and act like I got all the answers or that, this is just such an easy ride, because it's not. But I know one thing. Most of us have what it takes to make it through because we've made it through much worse. Further, most of us have what it takes to create stability or seeming stability in times of hardship. Most of us have had the situations happen of stressors that compound, and we've had to pull those things away. Even in times where we seem to get sick, we seem to feel, less than or hard on ourselves. And so I encourage you today to pull from the things you already have available to you. I encourage you today to just relax. Take some time. Even if you can't do it today, find some time later on this week or soon to just relax. And don't let these people stress you over these holidays, okay? All right. All right, y'all. Make sure that you comment, share this video with someone who can use it, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Beautiful brown baby doll. Peace.